Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a watch that launched as you see it here in 2014. That is Blue Dial Rose Gold Case 41 millimeters. It is the Girard-Perregaux 1966 automatic. So 41 millimeters in diameter, it is 10.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 44.2 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Frankly, this watch wears almost lugless because the lugs are super short. Throwing it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it's an ideal fit. Rarely would I recommend a 41 millimeter watch for a 13.5 centimeter circumference wrist, but this watch makes it possible. It's also flat enough and sloped enough of case flank that it'll slide easily underneath a dress cuff. All of the size here is in the case, the bezel, and the dial. The lugs are pared down almost to stubs, so it has a lot of wrist presence, but it's not hard to wear. The strap is upscale. You can see very large and symmetrical rectangular scale alligator leather. This is a particularly expensive cut of leather. It is a semi-gloss navy blue with a monotone stitch, a fold edge, calfskin on the bottom. You can see Girard-Perregaux factory strap, completely unmarred. We have a matching rose gold Girard-Perregaux pin buckle for quick on-the-fly adjustments. And then you can see that the watch uses curved spring bars. The lugs can be drilled close to the case. Again, it does wear almost lugless because of that curved spring bar. There's no impediment to the motion of the strap. Now, the case band is rather idiosyncratic in that it's almost a cushion. The lugs are barely there, short, stubby, and tapered. The case band is all polished. You can see it has some tumble home, so it falls away from the bezel to the case back. And then it has a conical bezel. We have a simple GP branded vintage style crown. Again, the mid-60s is the design conceit. On the dial, we have a blue metallic silver sunburst. I'd say it's blue silver. It's got a little bit of that silver undertone. It's very deeply grooved metallic sunburst, so you have this directional rayon grain that emanates out from the center. It's not a fume fade, although it looks a little bit like it. This is actually not a gradient dial. It's got that blue silver tone to it, and because there's some curvature at the edge of the dial, it has a little bit of camber or curve, it only appears to be darker. We have simple transferred indices, and then we have applique quarter indices, so we have 12, 3, 6, and 9 with leaf style hands for the hours and minutes, and then a lovely bob counterweighted lancet style seconds hand. The watch has a stop seconds function. It also has a quick set mechanism for the date, so you can rapidly cycle. Gotta love those open 6s and open 9s. It's a vintage inspired font. Flipping it all over, you can see one of GP's most modern movements. This is the caliber 4500. It is much larger than the older and still ubiquitous GP 3300. So the GP 3300 is 26.2 millimeters in diameter. This is 30.6, so it better fills the case back of a 41 millimeter watch. Now all this is water resistant down to 30 meters, so dress watch water resistance. It's an automatic winder with a superior 54-hour power reserve. Remember, the 3300 was 46. This is 54. It has the stop seconds, the quick set date. It beats away at 8 beats per second, and it pivots on 28 joules. It's quite nicely decorated. You can see Côte de Genève circular across the rotor, and then mirrored anglage on the edge of the rotor. We also have beautiful, rounded, true mirrored anglage on the bridges. I'll do my best to show you the barrel bridge, which is extraordinarily beautiful. The architecture of this movement is breathtaking. It's not just that it has nice finish. Architecture deals with the sizing, the shaping, the proportioning, and the arranging of the elements relative to each other. You can see that we have satination adjacent to the click wheel that's associated with the winding system, black polish on top of the click wheel, satination atop the cover, that, among other things, is adjacent to the crown release. We have linear Côte de Genève across the surface of the bridges, and then you can see that the bridge for the escape lever has been satinated on its top, so even lower components deeper in the movement have been hand finished. You can see we have black polished screw heads with chamfered slots and circumference, and it is all quite nicely done. My favorite feature, of course, is this barrel bridge, and you can see that the anglage is rounded and mirrored, so while it's likely started with mechanical means, it's probably finished with a handheld buffing tool, an impressive level of attention to detail that you won't find, for example, on an Audemars Piguet that is technically in the same echelon of watch as this Girard-Perregaux, but is going to cost a lot more and come with a lot more hype. This is a very underrated brand. Now, they use a version of Edicron for beat error adjustment and fine timing, but then there's also a small eccentric screw regulator for making small timing adjustments within 5 seconds a day. It's all quite beautiful. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.